Welcome to the Bourbon Experience. My name is Austin. Today I'm reviewing Four Roses 135th Anniversary Limited Edition. Today's review is the Four Roses 2023 Limited Edition, and it is the 135th anniversary. And I am reviewing a sample of this. I don't have a full bottle of it, but it is a blend of 12, 14, 16, and 25-year-old whiskey, and the recipes being OESK, OESV, and OBSV. And the big draw about this year's release is I believe it's the first year that they've had 25-year-old whiskey in it. So there's a big draw on it. Certain years of the Four Roses limited edition seem to be more popular than other years. I personally am a huge fan of the 2020. I've had the 2021, it kind of let me down. 2022 was better and kind of on par with the 2020. And this will be the first time of me trying the 2023 135th. Four Roses has 10 different recipes. They have like I said, there's OESK, OESV, and OBSV. The first letter of their recipe is always going to be O. The second letter is going to be E or a B, and that indicates low rye or high rye. Even their low rye is a high rye by other distillery standards. So Four Roses always has like high rye mash bill, but the E is on par with a regular. I can look it up later maybe, but I want to say maybe like a 20 something percent, and the B is much higher than that. S is always the same, and then the last letter, whether it's K, V, or O, K, V, O, I don't know if they're two off the top of my head, but those are indicative of the yeast strain. So between the high rye and low rye mash bill and then the 5 different yeast strains, it gives you 10 different recipes for Four Roses that they produce. People also will go crazy for so not only the recipe, but the tier, and that's listed on like the single barrel proof picks. The tier indicates, 1 through 6. However, if you go and do a tour at the Four Roses distillery, they will tell you that all of their warehouses or aging warehouses are only 1 story tall. So the difference between a low tier number and then a 6 tier number, people go crazy for the 6 tiers because they think it gets hotter during the summer and colder in the winter, so there's more interaction with the wood. I don't know if that's true or not because they're all 1 story buildings, so that's hard to say. But all that's just kind of go over the basic makeup and foundation of what Four Roses does. They have 10 recipes, 5 yeast strains, 2 mash bills, and certain gears limited editions are kind of more sought after than others. This year being a highly sought after year because the 25-year age statement that made its way into this blend. So on the nose, it's very perfumey. And I always get some kind of floral note or perfume or something in line with that high rye mash bill. But I would say this particular note is very perfumey, even for other Four Roses products. There is towards the end of the nose, there's like a dark note, almost like a dark oak, but I'd say like a dark funk or dark mustiness, and not in a bad way. But there's just another depth, another layer, deeper, darker past that initial perfume. All right, let's get into it. Wow, on the palate overall, much lighter than I expected. This is the first time that I've tasted it, and I've been looking forward to it for quite some time. This was a sample that I got from Secondary because I wanted to try it. But I was expecting much darker, deeper flavors with having that 25-year, 16, 14 age statements in there. But it is, on the nose, it's floral, it's apple, then there's that darker level. And then on the palate, it's much lighter. It's like a light floral, apple, caramel earthiness. And then as it transitions to the finish, then that oak comes in. But it never gets to be a dark oak. It's always a light, almost if you go to Home Depot and there's like a lumber, you go into like the lumber section, that fresh lumber thing, that's the oak that I'm getting in here. You'll get that in craft distilleries or distilleries that are utilizing, small barrels. There's almost that. It's not, this isn't drinking like a 24-year pre-fire Heaven Hill or a 17, 18-year, 20, 23-year Buffalo Trace. Like it's almost like a youthy wood note thing going on. It's very surprising. Yeah, it's just it's light. It's a light caramel, like a salted caramel, apple, some earthiness. That's like maybe there's some depth there, and then just this light oak thing. Maybe a little bit of cinnamon, but those notes kind of just carry through all the way. It's not bad by any means. I don't dislike it. I certainly have had single barrel proof picks that I have not enjoyed as much. But it's kind of lackluster being the hype that it got and the 25-year age statement. And I don't know, it's kind of a letdown. Yeah, there's an apple in there too, which is not uncommon with Four Roses or High Ray mash bills that I tend to get. I was really hoping that this would be a standout bourbon, dark, deep, funky oak, just punch you in the face, richness, goodness from Four Roses, and it's not that at all. What I had planned and what I'm going to continue with is I'm going to compare this to my all-time favorite Four Roses product, which is the 2019 limited edition small batch. And I'll give you the specs on this, but the 2019 is a blend of 11, 15, and 21 year. That was the main reason I threw this in, because everyone made a stink about the 25 year on this 2023 release, the 135th. Everyone made a stink about the 25 year. This is also has 21 year though, so it's pretty close. And the recipes on this is OESV, OESK, and OBSV. So the only difference between the recipes between the 2019 and the 2023 is both have OESK, both have OBSV. So the difference is 2019. Nope. 2019 has OESV and 2023 has OESV. So they literally, the ages are probably different on like between the lower age stuff and the higher age stuff, the recipes aren't the same on that. But across the board, the recipes are the same: OESK, OESK, OESV, OESV, OBSV, OBSV. Ones, and then the 135th is 12, 14, 16, 25. 2019 is 11, 15, and 21. So very similar in the genetic makeup, if you will, between the two. And so I thought it would be really good to compare them. However, just on the just on tasting the 135th to 2023, I already know where this is going to end up, and this is going to be essentially a review of, well, it'll be two separate views. They're not going to be very comparable. I'll get into the 2019. Yeah, the 19 is much darker, rich, full, round. There is the quintessential Four Roses in there. And so by that I mean there's a floral note, there's an apple note, there's an earthy note. But it's so much darker, more rich, more round, almost like a bourbon concentrate. I reserved that analogy for Elijah Craig Pirate Bottles and King Kentucky, Coy Hill, Small Batch, things like that, as being a bourbon concentrate. However, I will say I have always compared, the first time I tried the 2019 Four Roses, I had a sample. It was before I acquired a bottle, and I tried my sample, and the first thing I thought was, this is Elijah Craig Pirate Bottle Four Roses edition. It was rich, it was round, but then there was the floral, the apple, the earth of Four Roses, and those notes led me to basically call it the pirate bottle of Four Roses. So much so that I had a friend over who will probably make a guest appearance at some point, but I had a friend over and I gave him a blind of a couple different pirate bottles and then the Four Roses 2019 limited edition. Now, this is not a review focusing on those, and I will just preface and say some of those pirate bottles are my favorite things ever. But it was in those league. It was in that league. It was in the realm of that, and comparatively to any other Four Roses, it's just not on the same level at all. This is just miles above on the nose. That funky oak that you get with the pirate bottles. I mean, rich, funky oak, dark, burnt caramel, apple. The earthiness kind of goes in with the with that rich, oaky, round fullness. Barrel spice. Just such a full, complete experience compared to the 135th 2023 that it's not even fair. It's not a fair comparison. 2019 might be in the running, Ellie Four Roses, might be in the running as a top 10 all-time pour for me. I'm gonna have to see at some point where that shakes out, but in comparison, the 135 2023 is like chewing on a piece of raw lumber that you got at Home Depot. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful, or I didn't go into this wanting that to be the case. I actually was really looking forward to this, so much so that I bought a sample and was considering, hey, should I try and trade for a bottle of this? Should I spring and buy a bottle of this? Absolutely not. If there is any, the 19 still pops up on secondary here and there. I would buy this 10 out of 10 times over the 2023. The 2019 is hands down the best Four Roses product I've ever had, and I don't think that it's close at all. My intention was not to come down so hard on the 135. I wanted to like it. I thought, okay, 25 years, we're going to have a good age statement. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It let me down. The single barrel proof picks of Four Roses, every single one that I've had has been better than this 135. And the 2019 LE is so far elevated above anything else that it's not a fair comparison, and that's unfortunate because I want it to be. But that's my honest review. That's where I landed with it. As you can see, this bottle is, well, I spilled about half of the bottle earlier, but this bottle is almost empty. I have a backup. I probably will seek out another bottle. But as always, the bourbon experience is all about good pours and great times with whoever you're with. Whiskey's meant to be enjoyed, so crack those bottles. Cheers.